Alright, so Unsane was a really interesting surprise seeing it. I whenever I saw the trailers, I thought that this looked like it would be okay or it'd be pretty average. And in terms of the story, like for the most part, it's got some intriguing things about it, but it is pretty average when you give the sum of its parts, it's pretty average. But I gotta say that this had some real good tension and suspense, and I think that it worked really well being a very entertaining horror movie and a very mismarketed horror movie. And I don't want to spoil the movie, but the way that they marketed it's not the full picture of the movie. It really isn't. And that's kind of its detriment too, because what it does reveal is kind of just same old horror kind of thing without spoiling it. It reminded me of that movie Early Man that came out earlier this year where they had a trailer about what this movie is about, and then you see the movie and it's got more to it, but the thing that's in it that is not in the trailers makes the movie weaker for a lot of people because of the elements that they don't show in the trailer, because they probably know, oh, this is going to be cliched, so we're going to hide it in the trailer. And I thought that they did the same thing in this movie for Unsane, because watching this movie, like the trailer, I thought looked fine. Like it looked like a fine movie. I didn't know if it'd be good, but I really did enjoy it despite it having things about it, without spoiling it, with things that have it's not very original, even though the trailer makes it seem like it is. And that part of the movie I do enjoy, like the moments like in the trailer where this character played by Claire Foy is accidentally signs herself up to be part of this mental testing, where like she is literally put in there and then nobody believes her that she isn't supposed to be in this institution. And I love that idea. That is legitimately, the more I think about this movie, the more that idea legitimately scares me. What if you are trapped in a place where there are crazy people and you don't belong there, like in a mental institution, and then you can't escape, and whatever you do makes you look worse. In terms of, you could look like a mental patient yourself if you overreact and freak out because you are trapped there. And I love that idea. I think that is truly a really, really scary idea. That does legitimately scare me, being hidden in an area where you can't escape, being something you're not, being like, for example, being a crazy person. And I think that sounded bad. Didn't mean to make it sound that bad, but but you know what I mean. Like, it is a scary situation being trapped somewhere where you cannot escape. And I really like that. I love that idea. I think it does truly scare me, that idea. But the movie is not, like, it is about that, it is, but there's more to it. And like I said, I'm not going to ruin it, but there's definitely a cliched thing in this movie that is good, like because of the acting. Like, the other part of the movie is cliched, but the acting is really, really good. Claire Foy, like I said, just really blew me away as this character. Like, she gives so much range for what she is dealing with, how she is stuck here, stuff about her troubled past, and how this character is pretty well rounded. Just how you see a lot of her and see how, as the story goes along, like, it's really cool seeing it open up to her and what has happened to her. And I think that's really cool. And like I said, she was really good in this movie. And like I said, I don't know what else she's been in, but I thought that in this she was really, really outstanding as this main lead. Like, she was so good. And I don't know what the guy's name is, but the other main character is the guy from the Blair Witch Project. I don't remember which one of the guys out of the two, because there's three people in that movie, a girl and two guys. But he's one of those guys, apparently, from what I heard before I saw the movie, or saw this movie. But he's really good too. Like he is he's an interesting character. I'm not going to say anything about him really because it's hard to talk about these other characters besides her because all the other characters, like, you don't. I don't want to ruin anything about them. The only thing that the trailer gave away is Claire Foy's character and just how she is trapped in this area, and that's all I can really say in terms of characters. But I do love. There's one actress that I have been really aching to see on the big screen again. Amy Irving. I'm so glad that she is in this movie. Like, she's not in it a lot. Like, she's a side character. But I love seeing Amy Irving in films. Like, she's so awesome. And I think that I haven't seen her in a long time in a film. So that's cool. That's just a cool little thing to see her back again. Because I've been missing seeing her. Because she's a really good actress and she's underrated. And there's one cameo in this movie that's like a couple minutes long, and I won't say who it is or what it's about, but there is one cameo where I was just like, okay, that's cool, that person's in this movie, but we never got any hint about it. And I think that's cool. I love whenever you get a surprise like that, like, oh, this big actor's in this movie that we didn't even see, and they didn't get credited at the beginning either with the opening credits, which was clever too. And I like when they do that in these movies where they just put in a celebrity secretly and don't even mention, or an actor or an actress, and just secretly put him in and don't say anything about it until the movie happens. So that's really cool. And I also want to talk about the gimmick of the movie, because the gimmick is interesting. And it's not one that like it's a gimmick I liked, but it's really like it's just really an interesting gimmick in which this movie was literally filmed. I think every scene literally was filmed on an iPhone camera. That is really cool. It's really cool, but it looks more low budget. But I mean, it kind of works in how it feels more real, because of the fear that's going on in this movie and the tension. Like, it works with how they film it with this iPhone, and they film it in a way where it feels claustrophobic, and even when it's not claustrophobic, it feels open. And I like how the aspect ratio too, like, is like, I don't know what it is, 4:3, where like it's not completely covering the screen, but it's just a tiny bit on each side. But I like that idea. That was a cool way to put in a gimmick for this movie, and it doesn't look terrible. Like, I thought it would look bad being filmed on an iPhone, but it looked really serviceable, and I don't know if that was just an artistic choice, and if it was, it's cool, I liked it, or if they just didn't want to spend much money or didn't have enough budget to use real cameras. But this, I think, made the movie stand out in a slew of horror movies like that are released every month or two. Like, this one recently, I think, is probably one of the way better horror movies I've seen in the past couple of months. I did like The Strangers Pray at Night a lot, but I think this one is really cool just because of the acting and the performances. I think are really fantastic in this, and for a horror movie. And I'm not saying every horror movie doesn't have good acting or bad acting, but I think that this one had some really good performances that stood out, and I think they should be noted. The acting is really fantastic. The story is cliched, but it's got a cool idea around it. Like I said about being trapped in a place you can't escape, and everybody thinks you're crazy. I love that idea. That's such a great idea. And I thought that it really was entertaining. It was an entertaining horror film, and it was scary and suspenseful. Even though, like I said, it is kind of cliched, but it is scary and suspenseful. And there are moments where I really, really dug the hell out of it. I thought it really worked a lot of ways, but then in some ways it didn't work very well. But overall, in terms of an entertainment level, I was thoroughly entertained.